Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to the wintry scenes which currently greet me down at Lakeside. This is this week's Wildlife Watch. We've probably all enjoyed getting out and about and taking pictures of the fantastic winter scenes that the snow brings, but the animal kingdom looks at things slightly differently. Generally, all to do with how they feed. If we think about the type of species that we have in the United Kingdom, and bird species are a perfect example that have two different categories from where they're taking their food from. Hedgerow species, they'll be getting their feed from the canopies above and the bushes around us, generally berries, fruits, things that are on the trees. During the snowy seasons, if there is heavy snow on the trees, this might be more difficult, but generally for most of the time, they're having a much better time than the species that feed off the ground. And if we look at the ground, we can see why that is. Now, species that feed off the ground generally get their food from different places. They'll be rooting around in the loose soil, in the leaf litter. They'll be looking for bugs, insects, maybe seeds, maybe berries that are falling on the floor. Two barriers happen if you feed in this way during the snowy seasons. Now, the snow itself will cover the ground, which makes foraging very, very difficult. But also the ground itself, when the temperature gets low, is frozen, making it very difficult to get into loose soil, lifting leaves up, trying to find creatures that will be in there. And let's be honest, the creatures themselves, if the temperatures are that cold, aren't going to hunker down. They're going to stay that little bit lower. So if you are a species that relies on getting your food, particularly from sources that are on the ground, it's very, very difficult when we've got this winter environment that we're currently looking at. Predatory species might also suffer. If you look at me and how visible I am against this white backdrop, even the sort of nighttime conditions where the snow kind of lifts a light level up, then you've got to think about, if I was a predator trying to disguise myself and hunt down prey and stalk it, I'm going to stand out, and that's really going to make my meal catching and catching my dinner very, very difficult in terms of how easy it could normally be if you've got that kind of darkness and the bushes and undergrowth to sneak through, very well camouflaged. Water is something that animals also need to consider. Now, this stream here, which links the Mad Brook to Holmer Lake, is running water, and it would take an extreme cold temperature for that to freeze. But puddles and standing water, they freeze quite often. And so actually, if an animal has a water source which does freeze solid, they need to really think about how they're going to get the hydration they need to stay alive. Now, it's not all doom and gloom. Winter conditions are expected. Generally, most winters the temperatures will dip below freezing. Animals are prepared for that. Their bodies will store more fat to get them through periods like this. So they will be prepared for this, and their bodies will be well conditioned. It's only when conditions like this extend beyond a period which they might not be used to, then animals might start to really, really suffer. But we do need to bear in mind, as we sit in our centrally heated houses with access to food and water all year round, how much more difficult it is in the animal kingdom when things have to constantly adapt in order to survive. Now, we all enjoy seeing fresh, unblemished snow that hasn't been touched or trodden on. But actually seeing tracks in the snow teaches us a massive amount of what animals are using the areas and what paths and routes they might be taking. That's all for me, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you very much for watching. Please do share this with anyone that you feel would like to see it, particularly if they are stuck inside, self-isolating and cannot get down to see the wildlife themselves. All that's left for me to say is we will be back next week with another bulletin. In the meantime, stay well, stay safe, be kind to each other, and we look forward to catching up with you then. Thank you.